Following along with the codehappy.dalereese.com, I'm going to walk through their authentication written tutorial and give a video demonstration of how to use Laravel to build a simple authentication system. So what they recommend, they usually use what's called migrations. I would look into that, go to codehappy.dalereese.com and check out the section on migrations. But just for the sake of new users coming to Laravel, I'm just going to set up a table inside of PHP My Admin. I'm just going to set it up that way, just so that way people can abstract getting to know migrations and just jumping right into building an authentication system. I would recommend, however, getting into migrations. I'm still fairly new to Laravel and I'm starting to get into them. So I want 3 fields. I'm going to want the ID of type int. I want that to auto increment, and I'm also going to want a username, 128 characters, and a password with 64 characters. So I'm going to save that, and we now have our new users table. And the next process that we're going to want to do is link our database to our application. What I have over here is a new folder just called auth. I've put in a blank Laravel copy, and inside of my MAMP hosts I am going to point to that folder and the public folder. And I'm going to want to give this an alias. I'm just going to call this auth.com, just on my local machine to keep things simple. As the web server restarts, I can go to auth.com, and you can see I have a blank Laravel framework set up. So I'm going to go back over here into the code and go into my application, config, and database file. I'm going to want to scroll down to the MySQL section and add my database credentials here. So after I've added my database credentials, I'm going to want to come back in here to the routes, and I'm just going to manually add a row to the database. So I'm just going to create a new route and call this insert. And I'll go ahead and remove this route as well, because I'm just going to need it for this one purpose. So you can see here on the codehappy.dalereese.com, we can easily insert a new row using this code. So I'm going to change the username to Tony, and I'll just change my password to hello. So after I save that, and I come back over here to my auth.com, and I go into insert, it just inserted the field. If I come back in here to MAMP and click on users and click on browse, you can see it has my username and my password. So the next thing that we'll want to do is we are going to want to edit the auth.php file that comes along with Laravel. And what we're going to want to change in there is we're going to want to change the driver to Fluent, and we're going to want to change the username to username. And you can go over the documentation and understand what the difference is between Eloquent and Fluent. I'm still learning that myself. The next thing that we're going to want to do is create the form, basically the login form. I'm going to go into views, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call this auth, and I'll create a new file and call that login.blade.php. And I'm going to add a blank page, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste that code in here. And the code is fairly simple. What's happening here is it's just saying if the session has an error, then print out username, password incorrect. It has a text field for the username, password field for the password, and a simple login button. And then I will need to go into the routes.php, and I'll need to create a new route for our login. And as I said, we can remove this insert since we've already inserted that row. So I'm going to create a new route. Just call this login. And we'll want that to go to the auth.login file. So if I save that and I come back in here to my page, we are getting an error. That's on routes.php, line 40. Line 40. Aha. You say route get. And we'll also need to add a comma right here. So if I refresh that and I go back to our login page, and I can go ahead and click login, as you can see nothing's happening yet because we haven't added that functionality yet. The next thing that we need to do is add a route post. So that's whenever information is posted to the login view, then we will run this function. And we'll just echo something like form submitted. So now if I click login, then we'll get that output. What we're actually going to want to do is check the data that they have posted, and then we'll want to confirm that the login credentials are correct. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste the code for that right here. So what this is doing here is it's just capturing the username and password inside of a user data array, and then to check if the credentials are correct, we would just run auth attempt and then pass it that array. If it does pass, then we're going to redirect to, I'm going to create a new view, just call that dashboard. And otherwise, if the authentication does not happen, we're going to return back to the login with the login errors. So I'm going to create this new route called dashboard. This is where they will be sent to after they log in. So we'll just say welcome to your dashboard. So if I come back here to the login and I enter some random information, it's going to spit back and say the username or password is incorrect. So if I enter my actual login credentials, it'll say welcome to your dashboard. And then we may want to say welcome to your dashboard, Tony. So we would do get the authentication class as a user object and spit out the username. So now if I refresh this page, maybe we want a space in between there. So now when I refresh the page, it's going to say welcome to your dashboard, Tony. And then the next thing we might want is a logout button. So I'm going to create a new route for the logout functionality, which is very, very simple. You just say auth logout, and then just redirect them back to the login page. So we want a link here that is going to link to the logout route, and we want the text to just say logout. Let's see if that runs. There we go. Maybe I'll give it a break in between here. So now we're here at the dashboard, and we can click on the logout and try and enter some more information in. And it says that the username or password is incorrect. However, if I enter in the correct information, it will let me into my dashboard. And the final thing that we'll want to do is, say if I'm logged out and we go to the dashboard right now, it's going to print out an error because it's still trying to run that route and it's trying to call the user object, but we're not logged in, so it's going to give us this error. So what we're going to want to do is create what's called a filter, and these filters you can run them before and after any route request. So I'm going to call this route filter, and I'll call that auth. And inside of this function, we are going to want to check if the user is logged in. So we will say if auth guest. So if the user is a guest, then that means that they're not logged in. So we'll want to redirect them back to the login. And then we'll need to specify which routes that we want to run this filter on. So we're going to want to run this on the dashboard route, and what we'll do is the second parameter is going to be an array, And we'll say before we run this route, we want to run the authentication filter. And if that does pass, then we do want to run this function. So now if I refresh that page, you'll see we're not logged in, and if we go to dashboard, it's just going to redirect us back to the login page. So if I enter in the correct information, it is going to allow me into my dashboard. You can see we can log out and get back to dashboard, and it's just going to redirect us back to the login. So that's as simple as I wanted to make it. I just wanted to run through a quick video, and the written version is here on codehappy.dalereese.com. I would recommend checking out their website. I hope you continue to program using the Laravel PHP framework because it looks very promising in the future.